Windows Server without roles and features installed is like an iPhone without apps installed. The basic installation does have some limited functions, such as basic file and print sharing, but not much beyond that. You need to add server roles and features to take advantage of the power Windows Server 2016 offers. In this video, we will cover how you work with server roles and features in both a graphical user interface or GUI and a server core installation. On Server Manager dashboard, you can go to Manage, and then from Manage, you can click on Add Roles and Features to open up Add Roles Wizard. First window has some useful information for you and guides you actually to know what you need to know before you begin. If you want to skip this in future, you can click here, and basically each time you go to the add roles and features, this thing is not going to be shown and you immediately will go to the installation time. If you're new to Windows Server, however, reading the information in this window is a good idea so that you can make sure you have performed these crucial tasks before installing server roles and features. The administrator has a strong password. Static IP addresses have been configured. Remember, some server roles, such as Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol or DHCP and Active Directory, don't work correctly with dynamically assigned addresses. Although not all roles require static IP addresses, using them on servers is a recommended practice. Also, it reminds you that you should have done all the security updates and they should be all correct. Then you go ahead and you click on Next. And on this window, installation type, you have two options. You have role-based or feature-based installation. You should use this default option to install a role or feature on a single server or on an offline virtual hard disk. In most cases, you choose this option. The other option, or remote desktop services, you use this option to distribute components of the remote desktop services role across different servers for use in a virtual desktop infrastructure. So then choose role-based and click on Next. So on this window, on the server selection window, you will choose a server from the server pool for installing roles and features. You'll learn how to add servers to this list later when I will discuss managing servers remotely. You can also install roles and features on a virtual hard drive or VHD. If you choose this option, you will be prompted to choose a server on which to mount the VHD and specify the path to the VHD file. So for now, just choose the server which is available to us and then click on Next. On this window, which is Server Roles window, you will receive a list of all server roles you can install. Underneath each server role, there may be one or more role services, such as this role, File and Storage Services. As you can see, it shows one of 12 is installed. If I expand it, you're going to see there are 12 roles underneath this one. The storage services role already is installed. The rest of them are actually unchecked. That means they're not installed and you can choose to install them. So if this box is selected or the box next to those subordinates are selected, that role or role service along with any subordinate role services will be installed. If the box is shaded, one or more role services or subordinate role services are installed. Notice that when you select a specific role or service, you're going to get a hint or description over here about what this role or service is. So if you click on a role that has some features needed to be installed, it automatically is going to prompt you and tell you that you need to install those sub features. For example, if I do volume activation services and click next to it, it automatically pops up an add roles and features wizard, which is telling me what tools are required to manage this feature, and then I can go ahead and click on add feature and add those. If the role that you're adding doesn't have any sub role, then story is different. Okay, for the sake of this, I'm going to go ahead and click on Web Servers IIS and simply click on Add Features to install the tools and features needed. And boom, IIS is right there added over there. Now I'm going to add another one, which is remote access. And as you can see, remote access is also right now over there. So obviously you can add as many roles as you want, and you can just click on these guys over here to see what is actually needed for those role services. For example, click on remote access. I can see information about it. Roles and services needed are direct access and VPN, routing, and web application proxy. So if I want to use this role properly, now is the time to technically go ahead and install all those features. I'm not going to do it right now in this video. I'm just trying to show you how this wizard actually works for you. And I want you to remember, after you added the roles, you want to go to the role services for each of the roles you add. Look at this. Remote access over here has its own role services with 3 services needed. Web server role has its role services with all of these services that you can add if you want. Like if you want to do a web dev publishing on your web services, you can come down here and add it on. Anyway, after you chose all the features that you needed, which are all under this window, and then under those features you decided which roles you want to add for each single one. Remember, one by one, go to the role services and add the role services you want. Here I'm going to just add one of these guys, and let me actually do all. So I do all for remote access, and for role services I'll just add HTTP redirection. Now that all the services are added, I'll click on next, which is going to take me to the configuration. Make sure you check this box to restart the server. Always restart the server after installing a new role or service to make sure that service works without any problem. So I'm going to check box this, and it's telling me, hey, you're going to have a start automatically without any additional notification. So I click on yes. And at this point, when I click on install, everything is going to get installed and a restart is going to happen. So let's see. I'm going to click on install. And of course, it starts installation and moves forward to that restart. So I'm going to pause the video over here and restart it when I'm closer. Remember, depending on roles or services you choose, this process may be really time consuming, so be patient, let the server do the thing. It all depends on your hardware and the speed of virtual machine if you're using, and or the platform you're running the server on. Remember, if you have anything else to do on the server, you can easily close this window and go and take care of those. Just be prepared for an unnoticed restart, which is going to happen when this thing is all over. So, configuration required, installation succeeded, cool, everything is good at this point. I can go through my list and see all the features and roles that I wanted to be installed is already over there. Remember, for all of these, I need to configure the role. It's going to give me a hint over here, open getting started wizard. I'm not going to do the configuration now. I'll do it after the restart. Remember, when you restarted, you need to come back here and configure these two because that's on your to-do list, right? So I'm going to click on close, and at this point, it's going to get restarted. And the system is restarting now. So I'll wait for the system to restart and come back properly. So I'm using a virtual machine, therefore you need to remember some of these messages may not even show up on your environment. These are just because I'm using the VirtualBox virtual machine. So we'll wait for the server to come back on and log in. There you go. Let's log in now. And we are here. So usually Server Manager automatically opens up and shows you the dashboard. If so didn't happen, you need to manually open your Server Manager, which you know how to do it. This was about adding a role. Removing a role is also very easy and kind of like similar to what we did. You only need to go up to the manage, click on the manage, and then go ahead and click on remove roles and features. At this point, it's going to start the wizard for you. Again, if you are savvy with everything that you need to do before removing a role, just go ahead and click on this skip. For next time, it's not going to show up. But remember, before we continue, we have to verify that these tasks have been completed. We have to decide if we want to save or delete the role data. If you want to keep a backup of it, that's the time to make that decision. Is this a migration of the role settings and data to another server? Do we want to schedule downtime for affected services? Do we want to send out messages to our hosts? And finally, notify user of potential service interruption. And then you click on next. And over here again, you choose which server you want to work on. Same story as what we just discussed during installation of the servers. You can choose any remote server or any other server that is connected to this one at this point, if any. And then from the roles and everything, you can come and choose the role. For example, I want to delete the remote access that I just added. I just uncheck it, and then I get kind of like backwards steps of the installation. The step is telling me, okay, these are the roles and tools that you install to use this specific role. So do you want to remove those features? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and remove it. And at this point, it's already removed. Click on next. Over here again, you can choose all the features you want to remove. Right now, I'm very happy that remote is not listed anymore. And then I confirm the features go in, and I ask for the required restart to happen automatically, if any. And at this point, I'm good to go. I'll click on remove. And again, it's going to take some time to remove the roles, depending on which roles are you removing. Some of them are heavier, some of them are lighter, but at the end of the day, this is the time you have to stand here and look at the machine removing your roles. So I'm going to pause the video and come back when it's all done. And my machine is a fast machine running VirtualBox on it with 32 gigabyte of RAM, which 16 of it is assigned to the machines, and it still takes some time. So the automatic restart is happening. It goes back. I'm waiting for that to come back on. Let me just close this messages. As I explained, you may not even see those depending on which virtual machine or actual hardware environment are you using. And then it comes back up. And of course, I'll need to log in. And with that login, this step is going to be all done and over. Okay, we're here, so let's send the Alt Control Delete to our server, and don't look at my password, and we'll log in. And now if we go to the manager, there's not going to be no role. So again, guys, very straightforward. Windows is helping you a lot in installing these. What you need to really do is first understand every single role or feature that you're installing on this machine, and then the rest is going to be pretty straightforward through using the dashboard and results. So as you can see, sometimes when you remove a role that needs multiple restarts, it's going to come back up and automatically continue that process. So just bear with it till it is all done. In this case, it is now removing another feature from DC01, which was connected to the remote access. And this one is actually web application proxy that is being removed right now. So it's done with this part. I'm going to click on close again, and no restart needed. Thanks God, we're all good, ready to go. Depending on the feature, you may need another restart, or you will be okay as we were over here. There is also another method for managing server roles, and that's managing server roles through PowerShell, which I'm going to start explaining now. So let's see how we are going to bring up the PowerShell. So the easiest way is just to search for PowerShell, and it's going to start showing up here. For the ease of use for future, right click here and pin it to your taskbar so you can come down here and open it up at any given time. So click there, and the Windows PowerShell IC is going to start for you. So on the PowerShell, you have this very useful commands help on the right side. I recommend you not to close this at the beginning till you actually will learn and excel in using the commands of the PowerShell. You can easily search for any command and get the information about it and so on and so forth. That is good for beginners. Outstanding. One other way that actually you have to open up the PowerShell is from an elevated command prompt. You can simply just key in PowerShell and it basically is going to open up Windows PowerShell, which in this case is already open, and that's why nothing special really happens. Make sure you're using it under the privileges of administrator. If not so, you can find the PowerShell over here. If you're a different user than admin, right click and then run it as administrator over here, which is what I have done. And here is my PowerShell. I just double checked so that you guys know. Sometimes you're at a user's computer within the network and you want to run the PowerShell. That's when you want to run it as administrator. If you don't do so, it's not going to do most of the admin activities for you. So let's talk about the commands that we're going to need here. So one of the initial commands that you need to run is get Windows features so that you can see what features are available in this current installation of Server 2016. Good news is the PowerShell environment is going to be suggesting you the commands you're looking for. So something like an IDE for software developers. So the command is a spell that get dash. And notice as soon as I put the dash in, it's going to actually give me a list of all available commands with get. So I'm going to continue keying in Windows. Let me go back and search with dash so you can see it. Get dash, and I'm going to put Windows feature, and you see now it is giving me the rest of the command, which I don't need to do it. So hit an enter, get Windows feature, and if I hit enter again, let me just move the mouse, get Windows feature, hit enter, and it's going to give you a list of all the features available. In this list, whatever feature is installed has an Xmark next to it, as you can see over here for group policy management, okay? And those who are not installed, they don't have no Xmark. And you see the hierarchy, the tree, something like what you saw in the server manager, but now in the command line representation that you can get over here. The other command that I want to tell you now right off the bat is CLS. This is going to clear the screen and bring you back up to where you were. As an administrator, you may not want to see that exhaustive list of everything and just look at those which are installed. So there is a command, and that's get Windows feature, and then you define a condition for it, which the condition says were installed. And with this command, what you can do is see only those features which are installed, and it's going to collect the data. And now you see the features and roles that are being shown are the ones that actually were carrying the X mark showing they are installed, okay? And there is another command. Let me just clean up the space over here. So to see the list of all the available features to be installed, roles and features to be installed, you can run a command which is going to be, of course, you can guess, but starts with get Windows feature, and then you put a condition, and of course the condition is where install state and dash eq because you want to see a list, and then there is the available. And again, let's look at the command get Windows feature. The condition is where install state equals available. So this is how you read the commands in the PowerShell. Get Windows feature where install state equals available. And now if I hit enter, it's going to go and look into all the available features. So basically the first command, which was get Windows feature, was showing everything. Get Windows feature where installed was only showing the installed features. And the other one, which was saying where install state equals available, is showing you those which are available. So let's go down and clear screen again because I don't want it to scroll down a lot. So let's look at a command that installs a server role or feature for us. And that simply, as you can guess, it starts with install. And we're going to go with Windows feature. So that's install Windows feature. And then we have the role or feature name. Okay, so this is where you actually put the role or feature name in. So in this case that I'm putting it as just a placeholder for you, but you can just simply specify multiple roles and features over there. You can have them comma separated. Like if you want to have the remote access installed, okay, you can simply put remote access over here and hit an enter, and it's going to collect the data and it's going to come back and install remote access for me. Remember, you can have multiple roles or features installed all at once. You just need to comma separate them on the command line, okay? Pretty simple over there. So as you can guess, it's going to take a little bit time. So let me pause the video till actually it's already done. And as you can see, it says successfully installed the feature named remote access. The exit code is success and the restart is not needed. So pretty simple. Run a line of command, get it installed, and get away with it, okay? You can also define variables, different variations of these commands. Commands like install Windows feature, and then you can add include all features at the end. So basically, if I go over here, let's say same command is remote access, but what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to say include all features, and you see the option is already there. So include all features, and this one basically is going to bring it in with all the subordinates on it. Okay, I'm running it again. It is already there. Only if a feature is not included at this point is going to get added to it. Also, you can include the management tools, which actually is going to go ahead and install all the management tools along with the feature, which I'm going to do it momentarily when this run is over so you can see it. And as you can see, it is telling me that no changes needed. That is done. Of course, we asked to include all sub features because they were already installed. It is telling me no changes needed. Okay, now let's look at how we uninstall a server role from PowerShell. So as you can guess, the command is going to be uninstall. And of course, we're going to go with uninstall Windows feature. And at this point, we need to introduce whatever we want to uninstall, which let's say is the remote access that we played with a little bit. Same way that we included all features in the install, we can now include all features in this in the uninstall. Or if we included management tools in the install, now we can do the same thing. So let me just bring them up. So I'll include all the management tools over here to uninstall and hit enter, and you're going to see it's just going to remove that feature for me, and I'll be good to go. Remember, you can also install and uninstall roles and features to or from an offline VHD file by including an option -VHD to the end with the path. For now, we don't have no VHD set up, so I'm not going to put it in, but the command is going to be just -VHD at the end of it. Remember that PowerShell commands aren't case sensitive, so they are shown with selective capitalization to make them more readable, but you can use all lowercase, all uppercase, camel case, whatever you want. So good news is no case sensitivity, so be happy and key in as you like it. So we successfully did uninstall the remote access right now, but look at the warning, which is telling us we must restart the server to finish the removal process. Read all the communication that PowerShell is giving back to you, because these are really important to know. If you miss those restarts and you install another feature on top of it and so on and so forth, you may be in a bigger problem that you can even imagine. Also remember that all the PowerShell commands that we discussed can be used to install or remove server roles and features on remote servers. You can perform the same commands on remote servers by including a parameter, which is the computer name. For say, if we have, and let me just click here and try to bring back like one of the commands like this one, over here, I can simply just put this and name DC01, which is going to be the computer name that I'm going to install on it, and then add a string to the last of it, which is specifies the condition. Instead of DC01, I was able to do an IP address. It's like really depending on how you want to approach it. But as far as you have the name or the IP address, you're good to go. That's pretty much what I want to do. I'm gonna hit enter over here so you can see the error because that IP address is not reachable. And as you can see, it's telling me, hey, we cannot reach to that server, therefore you cannot install it. Later, when we install multiple servers and we set the remote access for those, we're going to come back and run these commands. Right now, I just want you guys to know this is something that is available. The other teaser over here is that the fact you can install and uninstall features to and from an offline VHD file by using Server Manager or PowerShell commandlets, as you have seen. Being able to work with VHD files offline can come in very handy when you are maintaining a Hyper-V virtualization host. You might keep a virtual machine VM in an offline state until you're ready to deploy it. If you need to add or remove roles and features from VM, you can do so without having to start it, and this is outstanding. The ability to deploy roles and features on VHD files without having to start the virtual machine that the VHD is associated with can save time and resources. The procedure for adding roles and features to an offline VHD with PowerShell is identical to that of live system, which we just went through. The only thing you need to do is to include a dash VHD option to the command. So basically, let me just go here and show you what I mean. So if you have this command to be on a VHD, you simply just go ahead and do a dash VHD to the end of the command. You would also need to manage features on an installation image that you deploy with Windows Deployment Server or WDS. For working with install image, which is a .wim file, you use the deployment image servicing and management or dism.exe command. And later down the road, when we arrive there, we're going to address those.